So something that stood out to me in this interview is when Jesse talked about going up to like the top of a mountain, eating some Chinese food, and kind of deciding what he didn't want to take with him after his experience in prison. Did you have a similar experience where you came out and you had a moment of reflection to say, all right, this is what I no longer want to be a part of coming out of prison?
Uh, Not on point like that, but yes, yes, in a way, it was just different. I didn't have a going up to the top of the mountain moment. My moment was more about my children and my family, and I wanted to leave behind the selfish kind of money chasing, always looking to get money individual that I was before I went to prison. So when I came home, reconnecting with my family and building that relationship with my children and just being there all the time, for me, I guess was close to like Jesse's moment on top of the mountain. For me, I think it was probably a Sweetwater Park, which I had never been to Sweetwater before. And a friend of mine introduced me to Sweetwater when I came home. And we all, me and my children went to Sweetwater, and we went out to like where I guess it's like a river, and we kind of like climbed up the rocks and went to the middle, and we were all just there with the water around us, and we was barefooted, and I was just really soaking up and taking in the moment. And we just spent the day at the park. We walked the trails, and we spent the time on that rock with the water, and yeah, so that was the closest thing that I would say to that same type of similar moment.
How long after release was that?
It was within maybe a couple of months, a few months, and I just became very intentional about when I'm with my family and when I'm with my children, they're the only ones I'm with. Like I'm not gonna let any other distractions be around me and things of that nature. Just spending real quality time and just spending that time to build relationships and memories and just kind of be super present when I was with them.
Were you that way beforehand?
No, I was not. We used to spend time, but I always had a lot of distractions, whether it was not, just different things pulling at my strings. Most of the time it was street life related or money related, business related, which was illicit activity, And no matter where we were, I was always being distracted, by other things going on associated with the life that I was living. We could be at dinner, we could be at a party. It didn't matter where it was. I was constantly stepping off. I was late to all events. I mean, super late, not like now. Not like 15, 20 minutes late. I'm talking, 4 or 5 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours. And, so I was very intentional about not, just being completely different, remaking myself in that. And that motto, in that aspect, I've heard it said before that when you really want to change, you want to change so much that you become unrecognizable to people that knew you before. So in that respect, yeah, I wanted to make a complete 180, do things 100% different.
So would you say that you had like a better respect for time once you came out of prison? How's your relationship with time change once you came out?
I can't even, I'm searching now to find it. You're 100% on point. I'm searching to find the most powerful word for the level of appreciation that I have for time now. I wasted a lot of time and took time for granted. Now, time is everything to me. It's the most valuable commodity that I have and that I believe that any of us have. I have a great reverence for time. So how I spend my time and who I choose to spend it with, for me, and I believe for all individuals, that tells you everything that you need to know about an individual. Because time is the most important blessing that we have. Time is life.
I'm trying to think. You said you were being more selfish before you went into prison. factors were keeping you away? Was it more so the money was keeping you away? The money was more important before going in? Or what were those selfish factors that you had before you went in?
So, yes, it was the money. And the money made me selfish. But I didn't know it at the time. Because in my mind, at my young age, my low level of understanding of life and time, I justified everything because I was on a money chase. So for me, it was always justified no matter what, because I felt like I got to get this money. In my mind, I'm saying, because when I get this money, I can do more with my family. Like, I've always been a provider, and I did a good job of providing, you know. But the level of providing that I was doing was minuscule in the sense that the ceiling was only so high because I was doing something illegal. So even if I convinced myself into believing, and I say convince myself because looking back, I realized that it was still like selfishness. It was selfishness, and then it was also lack of exposure and a lack of understanding, you know, a lack of growth.
A lack of imagination.
On point. A lack of imagination. And, you know, and those things are very important, but still at the same time, it was selfishness. Because, you know, a lot of times while I was saying I'm out getting that money, I wasn't always just getting the money and coming home. There was a lot of other things associated with that lifestyle, you know, and I'm out and I'm living the life of a single man, but really I was a family man. So yeah, even though I'm thinking I'm out getting this money and I'm gonna spend it, you know, I realize now what I didn't realize then, that I was taking my family and I was taking the time that I spent with them for granted. And you think that your family, you know, and people that you love is always gonna be there. And that the time to spend with them is always gonna be there. It's always gonna be there in the sense that let me just get this money, we can spend the time later. A lot of times later never comes. And in my sense, later came so much later because I had to sit down for 6.5 years and it could have been more. So, you know.
That concept of later, and then do you feel like you have like more of a sense of urgency in regards to spending time with family or who you give your time to?
Yes, 100%. A lot of that probably just comes from getting older. And as you get older, necessarily, your life on this earth is gonna be shorter. It has to be that way because we're all born to die. And as you get older, a lot of times you face your own mortality. Coming to grips with that gives you a greater appreciation, but also, yes, a lot of it was losing that time and having it taken away from you. When you're in prison, you don't get to spend your time how you want at all. You do what they tell you to do, when they tell you to do it, and how they tell you to do it. No exception. And so when you get a healthy dose of that, there's an opportunity there for you to get a clearer understanding. I got it. I got the lesson. And there's a lot of other individuals that got that lesson. But it's also been my experience that a lot of individuals don't get the lesson. But I'm thankful and grateful and humble that yes, I got the lesson 100%. I'm more mindful of it. 1,000-fold.
What was your favorite part of the interview today with Jesse?
The impromptu questions, words that enabled Jesse the opportunity to give it some thought on the moment, think about it, and not to say that every answer that he gave in the entirety of the conversation was not genuine. It all was. But there's something about asking someone something that they could not have anticipated that you were going to ask on the spot, and having them think about it then and answer a certain genuineness. And it touched me in a way because I could see that it touched him. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I liked it too.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to doing more. That was dope.
Was there anything that you wanted to rapid fire
Not on that one. No.
It
And
was a pretty packed interview.
yes,
Pretty gym already.
yes. And I had specific words that I wanted to do the word association with him. And I picked on those words, and it enabled me to ask them in an order, which was pleasing to me.
Before this interview or like as you? Before?
I thought about the words before, but I didn't know if I was going to ask Jesse. And really, right towards the end there, I just felt like, you know what? It felt right. This is a perfect opportunity to kick it off. And it's something that I think you guys agree with it that we need to do moving forward. It was good. Any more?
Send us out.
All right. Listen, once again, we appreciate you for signing in, for tuning in, for listening, for allowing us the opportunity to be able to talk to you, to allow us to be able to connect with you and for you to connect with us. We appreciate you always, as usual, every time for checking in. You know where you can find us because you're here at INNOUTWW, In and Out Worldwide Podcast with your host, Eric Geralt. I appreciate you, as always, for tuning in. And now I'm out.